Will network marketing cause you to lose your friends and family? That's what we're going to talk about today. All right, I have two different topics here. Number one is friends and family don't want to be around you. So you're doing something that causes your friends and family to alienate from you. And then number two is you cut your friends and family off because they don't support you. All right, and so this came as a result of me watching a BBC video, and they used the typical tactics that I've trained about in other videos. But what we're going to do is we're going to dive down into this first one. Friends and family don't want to be around you. All right, so for those of you who have watched the video, Network Marketing Success, Who Earns Millions and Who Earns Zero and Why, I put this up because what it explains is that this would be the ability of a person, and it really isn't network marketing specific. It's any business, any sales position, any person who works at the front desk of a restaurant, like the maitre d'. So if somebody doesn't have the ability, then they're going to be bad at it. And then as they increase this scale, they can go to elite. But that's going to require training. And a lot of times people don't want to do training. And a lot of times in network marketing, the person who sponsors them are in such a hurry to get them engaged that they don't really train them in terms of the techniques in order to communicate effectively. All right. So if you were in school, then it would be an F student, right? The person who's bad at it. And what do they do to relationships? And that's really the topic of today's video. Well, they're going to be unprofessional with their relationships. They're going to damage. They're going to state falsehoods. They're going to make product claims. They're going to make income claims, right? And so this is spam, right? So unwanted communication is spam, and it doesn't really matter. If it's network marketing, you've been around that person who won't shut up about their religion, who won't shut up about their political views, right? And so an unprofessional person is going to be unprofessional in network marketing or anywhere else, all right? So the mediocre ability level, be a D person in a school, they're going to be mostly unprofessional. They harm and they cause awkward strain. All right, that's that person who just, keeps on kind of pestering. And then they, will use comments like, what, are you going to be working in a job, J-O-B, Journey of the Broke, right? They put that strain on a relationship. And that's just unprofessional, right? That's all that it is. I've not lost my friends, okay, ever. Because I don't put a strain on the relationship. I don't damage the relationships. Okay, in fact, I go above and beyond with my relationships. Okay, so I hope that helps. And then also, this all comes down to training, right? And so their activity level is low or sporadic. Their knowledge is very, very low, and they lack certainty. It's the reason that they have, low activity level. And this particular D person tends to provoke trouble. And so the best thing that you can do, and by the way, this F student, they don't make money, they lose money. And they're the ones that are always interviewed on BBC or any other media. They're the ones that are pulled out because they're the ones that are playing victim now. And so, so then the mediocre, depending upon who they happen to talk to, they could earn a maximum $10,000 a year. So, okay, so let's jump to the next one. So the second one is where, and will network marketing cause you to lose your friends and family, all right? And this is a very heated discussion, and I may draw fire. It's okay. So this one is you cut your friends and family off because they don't, quote, support you. Now, that was the phrase on the BBC video. They were interviewing someone and the person wouldn't show their face and they were hiding their identity, and they were saying that their upline told them to don't be friends with people who don't support you. Okay, so, and I put that in quotes because I'm going to drill down into this particular one because it's one of those heated topics, and I'm just going to give you my view. You're welcome to do it however you want to do it, but I think this view will intrigue you. So, number one, let's talk about you, all right? And life force is all you've got. Okay, that's the one thing that's always there. Friends, family, they're in and out, right? Obviously, the older that you get. But life force is the you, right? You can call it spirit. You can call it anything that you want. But I'm talking about the real you in there, not your body, but you, your soul or whatever, okay? And so life force is you. It's the source of your willpower, if you will, right? It's the source of your discipline, your self-discipline, right? It's the source of setting goals. So when you set goals, you know that's kind of like putting the future out there. And whenever you're working in the future, then it's your spirit, if you will, that's doing that. So it's the life force. It's the source of your production. It's the source of your persistence. It's everything that has to do with you. All right? I want you to just imagine something, and sometimes this is difficult to imagine, but let's just pretend for a second that we're all free. Okay? All free. And we're all equal. Then what would give one person the right to invalidate a decision that you've made? Right? Like, why? It's my life, right? So if somebody doesn't want to do something and I'm talking to them, why would I pester them? Right? Why would I invalidate that decision to not do something? Why would I invalidate that decision to do something? Right? So you have to first get the idea that we're all free. And then you have to get the idea of that what gives any one person the right, if you will, to invalidate another person's decision, because I see it all over the place. If one person has a political view, they want to invalidate other people's, and one person has a religious view, they want to invalidate it on another person. And so that's the assumption that they are dominant and you are not free, that you are a captor or you are a subservient to that. All right. So with that in mind, I created yet another grid. You can tell I'm a kind of a systems guy. And like the first thing is, should you ever move away from a friend or family member? Should you ever get away from them? And so I created an extreme to have us all look at that particular thing. So if someone, so this is the center scale, if you will, and going this way, it gets worse and worse. And so I have this at a -3 and a +3, but you could have 10 delineations between each one of these if you wanted to delineate it in a different level. But the important part is that there has to be a delineation. There has to be a point where you say, okay, at that point, I'm getting away from this person. And so if somebody attempted murder on you, would you then decide, you know what, I don't want that person in my life, right? If I have to move out of this city, I will. Okay, however it has to happen, you want to get away from that person. Okay, what if they only threaten murder? Would you still get away? If they did physical abuse to you, so in other words, maybe they punch you, maybe they hurt you in some kind of way physically. Right? And so I'm not going to be the person to tell you when you should. I'm more giving you a scale by which to look at it. And there's a center line right here, okay? So let's say that instead of physical abuse, how about mental abuse, right? So let's say that somebody here, they say something like, have you made $1 million yet? Right? So they're kind of concealed, if you will, in the method they're going about invalidating your decision on something. And so that would be an example in in network marketing. But what about something else unrelated to network marketing? Let's say you're going on a diet. That person's the one that's going to say, hey, you want to go out and get a pizza and beer, even though they know that you're on a diet, right? So what they're trying to do, I call them termites or vampires. What they're trying to do is basically erode you from the inside, because they're in the inside of you, if you will, right? You've welcomed them into you. And so they're very, very dangerous if they have this kind of an attitude, if what they're trying to do is destroy you. And by the way, they'll never say they are, right? Obviously, they're like, oh, I'm just trying to help you. No, they're not. Right? They're no different, or they're slightly different than this group over here. All right? They're trying to take you down just internally, right? And then the next one is they criticize. Right? This is more of an overt method. And so what they do is they'll say something like, straight up, those things don't work. Right? So it's a frontal attack. And on weight loss, it would be, why lose weight? You only live once. Right? I've had somebody actually say, why in the world do you eat healthy, Tim? I mean, what's it going to do? You're going to suffer your whole life by eating like healthy food. And then what? You get an extra 2 years on your life when you're like 70? Right? In other words, no. Okay. So that would be a straight, like a front attack, right? You know who your enemy is. In this one, you don't quite know who your enemy is. All right, because they are supposedly your friend. Okay, and so then over here, once you cross over to the plus side, this is the person who's going to encourage you, right? And so you're great at anything you do or whatever you do. That's what my mom said to me about network marketing. My dad, not so much. My sister, not so much. Now my sister is great. My brother's great. Everybody is great on it. But at that time when I started, right? And so if you're on a diet, then it would be great. How's it going? Right? And that's not a hidden sort of a thing. This is just straight up. You're encouraging them. Well, keep going, let me remove the bread from the table, kind of a person, right? And so that's that person who's going to help. They're going to encourage you. And then the next one is to inspire. And by the way, I'll come back to these. This person's going to inspire you, all right? So they're very interested in what you're doing. And so they'll say, that's awesome. How are you building it? On a diet, it would be great. I did the same thing 3 years ago, right? Okay, so that's a person who is interested in your success, and they inspire you to continue on. And then number 3 is assist, all right? And so they're excited for you. They're not just interested in it, and they're not just encouraging you. They're excited for you. And so I know some good places to advertise. If it was a diet, it would be, I'll send you some of my recipes that really helped me. Okay, so now you get kind of this scale. And the dividing line here is, when they're communicating with you, do you feel them? Is your reaction to lean in and continue building with excitement, or continue on with the diet? Or does it cause you to lean backwards? Okay, so I did this other video having to do with the statistics and what are your odds in network marketing. And in that video, I had this whole conversation about why in the world would somebody focus on the statistics of weight loss? It's 99.4 or something like that fail. Why is the focus on that? Why aren't they opening up what those 0.6 do and drilling down in it and then helping mankind with that? I feel that the reason that people use statistics in a manipulative way is to try to get you to feel inferior. Okay, you're no longer equal because some PhD did this study and it proved blah, blah, right? Well, that to me is irrelevant. It's, well, what did the 0.5 guy do, right? So, okay, so how do you handle these situations, all right? And I'm not going to tell you, I'm just going to give you some advice out there, right? And maybe it works for you, and maybe you don't want to do it, and I'm cool with any of it, okay? So let's say that that somebody tosses you that, have you made $1 million yet? Ha ha ha. I'll laugh. Okay, I'll just laugh right back. And I say, no, I've only been in business 2 weeks, right? And I'll end it at that, and I'll change the subject. Okay, so I'm not gonna like fight back or anything, right? If it continues to persist, and he continually is doing it, then I'm just gonna ask him, hey man, what's your intentions? Are you trying to get me to stop the business? I'll just confront him right straight on. Oh, no, man. I'm just making light of it, right? Okay, good. I just want to make sure that we're buds, right? And so I'm going to like confront it, okay? I'm not going to like get the guy out of my life right now. I'm just going to let him know that, hey, this isn't cool with me. Right? Over here, if they continually criticize, and they say those things don't work, and I say, well, for no one? So I would kind of like push it back a little bit, right? So those things don't work for anyone. Why lose weight? You only live once. Good. Maybe you don't want to go on a diet. I do. Right? So I'll have a little bit more of a pushback on it. Okay? But if they persist, I don't want them in my life. Right? That's not really the conditions that I want a relationship built around. It's kind of like, I'm going to invalidate you and you're going to invalidate me. We're going to call ourselves friends. No, that's not what friends do. Right? So friends support. Okay? And so when this person on the BBC article said, or it was a video, said that my upline told me to get away from people who don't support me. All right, so now let's kind of like look at this and say which one is support versus which one is trying to stop you. All right, so this one would be support, this one would not be, this one would not be, this one would not be. Okay, and so I've never advised anyone other than when I hear a real destructive behavior going on. Okay, so I see some lady who is talking to me and she's trembling, and she says, my husband doesn't want me to do this, and I said, well, have you talked to him? Right? So and then at some point it's like he doesn't have to agree necessarily, but he just doesn't have to try to shut you down, because now it's that pretend that we're free, pretend that we're all equal. And now, how do we cooperate one to another, right? And so it's like, don't steal what the person wants to do just because you don't want to do that, right? So, all right. So in a summary, be professional with all your lead generation methods, all right? And it's difficult to succeed when people are undermining your efforts, all right? I really have seen a lot of people just, they kind of like have some success and then their success collapses, right? And when I see this continuing on, no doubt somebody in their life is pulling them down, right? So they're able to do it, but it's constantly undermining them. And so guard that person, okay? Your life force. Life force is your strength, persistence, and vitality. Protect it, because it's all you've got. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.